Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm looking at the comments that are scrolling in before I get started, and I was cracking up. Yeah, people are making jokes. It's great. Thank you for joining me. It is Wednesday, July 22nd, 11 a.m. Central Time, and I am broadcasting to you from Andover, Minnesota, here in the U.S. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here to bring you another live paper crafting class here on YouTube. So a big welcome to all of you, and a big welcome especially to those of you who are new to my channel. Thank you for joining. Today I am going to show you how to just use the basics: ink, paper, cardstock, to make some stunning cards. And the stamp set is really the hit. The stamp set that I'm going to be using is called Sending Sunshine. I keep calling it Sharing Sunshine, so I have to keep looking at my notes. It's Sending Sunshine, and it is in the annual catalog, the 2020 through 21 annual catalog. I'm also going to be using some upcoming products from the August through December, I want to call it holiday catalog, the August through December 2020 catalog that debuts, gosh, soon, August 4th. So it's just around the corner. And the product that I'm going to use from there is called Brush Metallic Cardstock. It's beautiful. I can't wait to show it to you. Tips and techniques for using sponging and sponges and daubers, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. Now, if you are live with me while I am broadcasting, you can either sit back and relax, or you can log into your YouTube channel and your YouTube account, I should say, and you can join in on the chat. There's lots of people that are chatting away. I'm looking at my computer. I've got it positioned over here so I can see all the chats coming in. This is so much fun. So yes, chat away, ask questions, tell jokes. That was funny. Yeah, just tell me where you're from. Tell me how long you've been crafting. I love to hear, I love to read through the comments, I should say, after I'm done. And in fact, I've even screenshotted a few that I'm going to share with you from last week. So I'll share those in just a minute. I have a moderator, by the way, someone who is helping me out during my live broadcast so that she can answer questions. Trisha, please say hello to everybody. Trisha Josephs is a fellow demonstrator. She's in my group of Stampers with Art Stars, and she's probably been with me the longest, or one of the longest. Her and I are really good friends. We've been connected for so long, and I'm so grateful for her help. So say hello, Trisha. She's also very tech savvy, so she's got some talent. All right, well, she has other talent too, but anyways, I could just go on and on. I love her. So I wanted to mention something though, because I noticed that last week and the week before, when we were diving into these YouTube lives versus the Facebook lives, which is what I used to do, is that some of you are trying to connect with others in the chat. And when you want to do that, it's best to put an @ sign before the person's name, because that will actually tag them in your comment and they'll be able to see it. So that's just a little tip for those of you that want to connect with people. And you'll notice that Trisha does that when she responds to people. She puts an @ sign before their name. All right. I have shared a list of products that I'll be using in the description of this video, so you can peek at that at any time. Trisha also has the list handy just in case someone is confused about what I'm using at the time. But I'm also going to share this on my blog right after. So that's the beauty of YouTube Lives. I love it. So you'll be able to connect onto my blog post, which is also in the description of this video, and you can see close-up photos of the projects. You can see the supply list. You can see the measurements. Plus, to help you out, if you like to do screenshots, I'm going to share with you the supplies and measurements in just a second. So one more thing to note before I show you the fun comments from last week and the measurements and supply list is that we're going to do a live prize drawing. So you'll want to comment like you're doing now. I love it. I love it. I love it. So comment away and you will get entered into a prize drawing, a live prize drawing. Trisha picks a random name from the comments towards the end of this video. And then I also read through the comments that come in afterwards. So if you are looking at this video and you're not watching it live, there's another comment section. You can comment on the video afterwards, and I draw a couple of winners from that as well. So you have a whole week to respond and get in on that prize drawing. Let's go to the computer. I'm gonna pull up my screen here and adjust my picture. I can't wait to show you some of the comments from last time. Okay, but here, first let's do this. Take a screenshot if you're on your computer, and you can refer back to this right away. But these are the supplies on the left that I'll be using for these mini RAK cards. They are random acts of kindness cards, and I got inspired by a paper pumpkin kit from last summer. And so I thought, you know what, let's make a whole nother set of random acts of kindness cards using this beautiful stamp set, which I can't wait to share. So take a peek at all of those. I'm using lots of different color inks. I'm using cardstock, I'm using a stamp set, and then some tools. You don't even see a rhinestone in there. Can you believe it? Crazy, right? Rachel's not using rhinestones. Measurements are off to the right, and that is per card. I'm going to show you 3 different cards. I'll walk you through 3 different scenes that you can create with this stamp set that I love. Here are some comments from last week, and you can see that some of them are very funny. They just stood out to me as I read through them. They're off to the right. Jamie is from Andover, Kansas, and I'm from Andover, Minnesota, so I thought that was pretty cool that she shared that. And then I did talk about shrinking my head when I brought my camera down into the lower corner. Talked about shrinking my head, so thanks, Jen. That was hilarious. There's some comments up in the upper left there that I just wanted to comment back to you on. For those of you that are new to stamping, stamps, ink, and paper are some basic supplies that you'll need to have. You'll want to have adhesives. A trimmer is a wonderful thing. The adhesive that I recommend, by the way, is the Terra tape adhesive. It's very user-friendly. I'm not showing that today, but that's one. A paper snips or scissors, we call them paper snips. And then a kit. That's the first thing I would recommend you get. A kit is all-inclusive. It has the embellishments. It has a whole bunch of things like that. But if you wanted to start out, I would say get a kit. It has the stamps. It typically has the stamps and inks and the paper if it's an all-inclusive kit. But other than that, I'm sure other people will share some comments, and I know that they were sharing some things with Deb last week. So comment away if you have some advice for people who are new to paper crafting. Also, Amy had asked if I use Post-it notes or washies when I hold my dies down onto my my board when I'm die cutting, and I do. Sometimes I do, but I was using. I think I was using the magnetic plate last week. I want to say I was. Glue dot for those little tiny watermelon seeds that I shared last week. The glue dots are going to be too big. You can make bigger watermelon seeds, but you just need a tiny dab of that fine tip glue. So that's to answer Lori's question. And let's see here. Linda, I just wanted to reiterate that all the supplies are in the description of the video. They're going to be on my blog post right after. And Paula, I don't know how to answer your question. I have been researching, and I'm not sure how to do closed captioning for, like the words to go across the screen at the bottom. Subtitles, sometimes they call them too or whatever. But I don't know how to get that yet. So I'm trying to look into that. And then you can see that there's helpful comments from my Trisha Joseph. She has the little wrench symbol after her. So if you're seeing her name come up, that's because she's the moderator. That's why she has the wrench symbol. And then Ethel and Nancy, thank you for answering questions too. A big happy birthday to Miss Belinda. So it's her birthday today. Thank you for sharing that last week. That was pretty fun. Sending Sunshine. This is the stamp set that we're going to be using. You can see how gorgeous the stamp images are. So we're going to take and build some awesome scenes. I've already mounted all my stamps onto clear blocks. I've got my ink spread out in front of me. This mat is now available again. It's called the Stamp and Pierce mat. They didn't have it available for a while, but now it is back. So if you are interested in getting this, just know that it's back in the online store. So let's start by cutting our cardstock. I'm going to use a different kind of neutral cardstock, one that I haven't used in a while. And I'm going to cut it from a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. So let's zoom out just a bit so you can see the whole sheet. And this is 8.5, this is 11. I'm going to cut it in this direction at the 2 3/4 inch mark using my cutting blade. The dark one is the cutting blade. That's the one that you'll want to replace every once in a while because it does dull when it cuts through cardstock. It dulls your your blade. This is the one that you pretty much never need to replace unless you lose it. And I write the word score on there so that I don't forget that that is my scoring one and the other one cuts. Now I'm going to turn my cardstock this way and I'm going to cut to 2 3/4 again. So I've got a square piece. Now this is pretty cool. So from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and yes, your blade cuts in both directions. I'm not sure if I ever shared that. It can cut in both directions. But from that sheet down the 11-inch length, you can get 4 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. You can also get 3 pieces going across. So remember there was a piece over here. You can get 3 pieces going across. So from one sheet of that size paper, you can get 12 pieces. So if you wanted to make a bunch of these random acts of kindness cards, you can get a lot out of one sheet. Let's bring in one of those squares and set that aside. Now I want to cut, or actually I'm going to share with you this beautiful brushed cardstock, brushed metallic cardstock. So you've got all these metallic colors. There's 3 of them. Oh gosh, those are pretty, aren't they? And you can see the brush look across them. If I hold them at the right angle, you can see that brushed look, and it just gives it such a gorgeous, I don't know, I love it. I love it. Not as shiny, it's a little on the softer side with that brush look. So I've got for you 3 pieces that are 3 by 6. I've already cut them. And if you look at a sheet of this 12 by 12 paper, you can see that you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from one sheet perfectly. We're going to score them. We're going to score them down the middle. And you're going to see a little bit of that brushed cardstock worn away when we do that scoring. So just know that that's going to happen, and that's okay. So you can see that at the top there. I have some kind of, there we go. So you can see that at the top, it's got a little bit of wear and tear now where I scored it, but that's okay because it's at the top of my card. Okay, I'm going to do that to all 3 because these are going to be the base pieces for our card. Did you notice that the flip side is white? So it's perfect for writing on the inside of your card. You don't need an extra piece of neutral cardstock on the inside because it's already white on the inside, ready to go. So now we'll bring in our bone folder and we'll just give it a good crease. Make sure that those cards are lying as flat as possible while we work with them. And they're probably not going to. I'm going to put the stamp pad on top of them so they don't move away from me. Okay, so the fun begins. This is going to be great. I'm going to put this Stamp and Pierce mat underneath here. The reason why it's called Stamp and Pierce mat is because you can pierce into it too. Like if you have a pokey tool or whatever, like the Take Your Pick tool, you can poke into it if you need to make holes in something. So I have more than 2, but I have 2 of them, one for piercing and one for stamping onto. That way the one that's full of holes doesn't have little divots all over it, and this one I just labeled Do Not Pierce or Cut, so this is the one that I want to keep smooth. And you just kind of have to remember where it's at underneath your grid paper, or you can get the smaller grid paper. We have a smaller one too. This is shimmery white cardstock, and this is going to be the trick. Can we see the shimmer? You may not. It's one of those cardstocks that's hard to capture on camera as far as the shimmer goes. You know what? I'm going to pull this lamp in closer and see if that works. I don't think you can see it. Bummer, bummer, peanut butter. But it's got this glitz to it, which is why I didn't need rhinestones, right? Rachel likes her shimmer. So I got it through the cardstock this time. We're going to grab the largest stamp in the set. It's this one here. And you can see it's got this hole kind of positioned there. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait to show this card to you. So we're going to stamp with Coastal Cabana. Coastal Cabana is kind of a greenish blue. It's a beautiful light blue that's got a green tint to it. So very ocean color like, right? So we're going to stamp our ocean. And the great thing about grid papers is that it has all these lines on it. So it helps you to position your stamps. So I'm going to bring my stamp over my cardstock. I've got the bottom lined up here on one of these lines, and then I'm going to go up 4 spaces, which is an inch. And I'm doing it at an angle, so I hope I'm getting it well, or getting it in the spot well enough. Okay, so now I've got it down there, and I'm going to press. I'm going to press evenly. I've also positioned, as you can see, I've positioned the hole that's in the ocean. You'll see what that's for in just a minute. But you'll see that that's positioned in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to lift it up. We're going to clean this off. Oh, I don't clean my stamps on my videos too often, but here is a wonderful cleaner. It's dirty looking, but it is called the Simply Chamois. And you can come in and you can clean off your stamps with this tool, just like that. So we're ready to go for the next color ink the next time. I think I need to get that wetter. I may need to call somebody in my house to help me. Okay, so now that that's stamped, we're going to grab this image, and this image is the sun with the reflection on the water. We're going to stamp that in our Mango Melody color. To open your ink pads, if you're a beginning stamper, it opens just like a compact, so you just lift up here, then you open it all the way, and you slide it into the base. So we're going to ink up our sun, and we're going to stamp that. I'm just going to pull this a little closer to me. We're going to stamp that so that the bottom, here, I'm going to point on here, so that this bottom of the sun, which is where the white line is going through, so that's lined up across the horizon of the ocean. And that's all you really have to think about, is lining that up. Don't worry about the orange that is going down into the water, because that, I mean, it's going to be impossible to try to eyeball where that lines up. So there we go. It pretty much gets in the right spot, right? So there's that. We need to keep this mango open for a while because we're going to use that again. But let's clean off, actually we don't need to clean off the sun because we're going to use that in mango next time. Let's go to the branches. So now we need branches to come out in the foreground of our scene, and we're going to stamp those in a color called Pretty Peacock. So here's Pretty Peacock. Open that up, slide the base in. I keep looking at my computer. I'm going to do a quick little switcheroony so I can see comments. Oh, good. McTreese said that she could see the shimmer. Thanks, McTreese. I appreciate you chiming in. Awesome. Okay, so here are leaves that we want to stamp, and I'm going to stamp these so that we have some leaves as if they're coming out of the front of the, you know, like if you're taking a photo, those are in the foreground. So we're stamping them, and they're a little bit dark because we're doing a sunrise photo. With the sunrise, you know, you don't quite see the green of the plant yet, so they're still kind of in the shadow. Let's leave this color open too, and we're going to stamp now. Actually, let's do some sponging. Sponging is next. So I take my sponges, they come in these circular shapes, and I cut them into 6ths or 8ths. So I cut them in half, then I might cut them in half again, or thirds or whatever, but then I label them. Now, a lot of people take and they like paper or staple the coordinating color onto the end of the sponge. You can do that too. I think that's a great way to organize your sponges. Then you don't have to clean them off every time. You just pick up that sponge, it's already ready to go in the color that you've labeled it. So here's our mango color again. We're going to come in and we're going to lift up a little bit of color on here. Now for this sponging that I'm going to do, it's going to be super light. I don't want to see a lot of color, and I don't want it dipping down into my ocean. So I'm going to take a Post-it note, and I'm going to cover up my ocean, just like that. So it's now unable to be inked. So I've inked up my sponge. Now I'm going to come onto my grid paper, my scrap paper, and I'm going to do a circular motion until I see very, very little color. Okay, just a little bit of light color. And I'm going to squeeze my sponge like this so that it's curved. All right, because I don't want to have those harsh lines on there. So I'm going to squeeze my sponge so it's curved. And I'm going to come in right where my sun starts and kind of on the edge of the Post-it note and come in and out to make kind of a hazy orangish color around my sun. And now you can see that that sun that's rising is just giving off a slight glow of orangish yellow. Okay, we're going to keep this open one more time. Sorry. We've got a sentiment to put on here. And the sentiment that we're going to add says, sending you sunshine. So we're going to ink the sunshine word up, and we're just going to ink it up using the corner of our pad. So I'm masking without using tape, if that makes sense. So I've inked up the word sunshine. And now with my darker color, this is where I have to be careful, because my darker color will cover up any ink that I got onto my stamp in the wrong spot. But with my darker color, I have to make sure that I'm not getting it where my sunshine word is. So I'm inking in the corner, and then I'm going to kind of come in and ink on the side to get the word you. And now I just have sending you sunshine in two different, here it's better if I take my hand away, two different colors like that, two different tones or shades. So we're going to stamp that right above. And that piece is ready to mount onto a card base. Pretty easy, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Grabbing our Seal Plus adhesive, we're just going to run some adhesive down the side here. And I'm going to mount that onto, gosh, which color did I use? I think it was, sorry, it's one of the two light ones. I think it's this one here because it has more of a orangey color. So that one's going to go right here, like that. And my RAK card, or my Random Acts of Kindness card, is ready to go. I just need to put this in my purse in a container, and I'll show you some ideas for that in just a minute, or an idea, I should say. All right, let's take our stamps that we're not using, move them out of the way, and bring in the stamp and the stamps and the inks that we are going to use on the next card. So I'm just closing up my ink pads. We will be using this one again, but I won't be using the Pretty Peacock, so we'll set that back here. All right, coming in with, let's do the evening scene now. So this is going to be the one where the sun is setting. So we're going to use Bermuda Bay. And we're going to ink up our ocean. So now it's a slightly darker blue. It's kind of in the same tone. It's got that greenish bluish color to it. Let's grab one of our white, our shimmer white pieces of cardstock, and we'll do the same thing where we line up our stamp with, or I'm sorry, our cardstock with that line on the grid paper. Come in 4 little marks up, making sure that the sunshine area is centered, and stamp it down. So much easier to do if I'm right over the top of the cardstock, and I'm not, but it's working, right? So there we go. So now we have a bluer, darker water, and I did not ink this up, or I'm sorry, did not soak this up with enough of the water. This is just, all you need is water on this chamois. I think I'm getting it off though. It's working. Okay, that one's ready for the last card. Okay, for this one, we're gonna do Mango Melody again for the sun. And stamp that right so that that line underneath the sun is going parallel and in line with the line of the horizon. Okay. All right, so there's that. We're going to leave this out. We're actually going to put this back here because we don't need it anymore. All right, so now I'm going to stamp the leaves in black. So let's clean that off on our chamois. And we're going to open up our black ink, which is the Memento Tuxedo Black. I think I also caught a comment last week that was asking if the Tuxedo Memento Black, why I chose that over Basic Black. We don't carry Basic Black ink anymore, so that would be the simple answer for that. Tuxedo Black is our basic black of choice now. So, and it's actually an awesome ink. I love it. So we're going to stamp our branches in the same sort of area where we had them before. So they're going to come right through here on the left and the right. Okay. And now we're going to grab our sponges again. So we're going to do some sponging, this time with Mango Melody and Terracotta Tile. So this is a deeper, darker reddish orange. Let's cover up our ocean area with our Post-it note. Okay, and then we'll start with the mango. And again, starting on the, actually we're gonna start with Terracotta Tile. We're gonna start at the top because that's where the deepest, darkest color is gonna come from this time. So let's open up that, set this one off to the side, and grab our sponge that I've already assigned for terracotta. We're gonna ink it up. You can start a little bit off on the paper if you want to, but you can go for it with this color. This is gonna be a darker color, so you want it to be deeper. Don't be afraid if you get that at first, it's fine. The shimmery white cardstock is slightly coated, so it will allow you to move that ink a little bit more before it completely dries. It's not coated like a glossy cardstock, but it definitely has more wiggle room than say Whisper White or Very Vanilla. So I've got some dark orange coming in. Let's switch over to the mango for now, just to kind of get that color in there, and then we'll blend the two. So we'll come in with the mango color, and we're coming down towards the sun, which is where we want the color to be brightest. Now I'm not quite happy with that yet. I love the whiteness that's going around the sun there because the sun is setting and it's the brightest part in the sky right now. But I want to come in a little bit more with a deeper orange surrounding that sun. So I'm just going to keep on sponging with the Mango Melody. All right, so now after kind of smoothing out where it looks too grainy, I got it a little grainy, you guys. That's okay. Now we're going to come in with Terracotta Tile again, and we're going to go into the orange area a bit more with this color and try to just kind of blend those two together a bit more. Is this sky not beautiful? I love it. Makes me want to go to the ocean. We don't have the ocean in Minnesota. So there is the sunset scene. We'll hold it up away from the scrap paper so you can see it better. Okay. And now we're going to bring our black ink back in. I think I grabbed the ink that wasn't quite as inked up. I have two of these Memento pads, and I didn't know which one was going to be the deepest, darkest of the color, and my branches weren't quite as deep as I wanted them to be. So buy re-inkers. When you get ink pads, invest in the re-inkers. They're just little, they look like eyedroppers, and you just drop the color onto the ink pad. The pads that are like this are different than this. This is a fabric type of coating on the pad, and this is called firm foam. So when you drop the re-inker onto one of our classic ink pads, you then have to take like the back of a spoon and kind of maneuver that ink into, even it out on the top of your pad. Just kind of squish it around, if that makes sense. On this one, you just drop it on there. It soaks in great. Okay, so we're gonna stamp our inhale, exhale, enjoy at the top. And that piece is ready to mount. So let's take our adhesive and our darker card base, wherever that went. I'm getting lost in my pieces over here. Okay, so we're gonna put that onto this one. I like this one the best with that because it's darker and deeper in color. So we're gonna put that on here. This is more of the bronzy color, I think. Okay, and then our last scene, we'll grab another piece of shimmery white, and your fingers are gonna get a little dirty, just so you know. Rachel's having a panic attack. I'm gonna wipe them off on my little chamois here. Okay, there, hopefully they're cleaner. I just don't wanna dirty up my cardstock. Okay, so now we're gonna grab the color Balmy Blue, and Balmy Blue is more of a true blue, a lighter blue that looks daylightish, okay? So we're gonna ink that up, position this again so it's down lined up with the line on our grid paper. Go 4 spaces up. By the way, 4 spaces up, I'm not explaining that, am I? That's an inch on this grid paper. And if you're using the metric side, it's not gonna be an inch, but I'm using the imperial side, which are in inches. So there's 2 sides to your grid paper. So there we've got our beautiful blue water in the daylight. I'll actually need that pad. Keep that one open, Rachel. We're going to be using Granny Apple Green this time for our foliage. I need to get rid of the ink on this one. Let's see here. My chamois isn't completely wet. I need to get it wetter. All right. And then we need our, the color that we're using with this one is So Saffron. So Saffron. Each of these cards used, I think, 3 inks. Oh, you know what? I lied. The evening one used 4. So here's our, where'd it go? Oh, that's right. We're not using the sun going into the water. I'm like, where'd my stamp go? We're using a dauber. So if you saw the sponge daubers on the list, now you know what we're going to do with it. We're going to actually make our own sun higher above the water, because during the day, the sun is not dipping down into the horizon, right? So you're going to ink up your dauber. It's like a sponge, but it's circular. And then we're going to position it above the water. So I like to turn it this way so I can see the top of my cardstock, and I place it where I want it, and then I just kind of move it into a circular motion, and I have my sun. Cool, right? There's the sun above the water. Let's stamp our green. You guys don't know what happened. Sorry, some things were about to fall. Okay, so stamping our green, because during the day, our leaves and our trees actually have that bright green color. So that same scene, as if somebody's just sitting off in the corner at this section of the ocean, and they are taking pictures throughout the day. So now we have this scene. We're going to come in with our clouds. Here's our Balmy Blue. We need our Balmy Blue again, and the stamp set actually has some cloud images in it that we can use. So we're going to stamp a couple clouds. We're going to stamp them so that we're removing some of the ink. We don't want them that bluish. And then we're going to stamp one way up here, and we're going to stamp another one. I'm peeking at the one that I already have finished. We're going to stamp that one maybe up here. And then we'll take this little tiny one, because there's 2 size clouds, and we'll stamp that one coming in maybe about there. Okay, and now let's take our words, our sentiment. Our sentiment for this one is hoping your day is perfect, and we're going to do that 2-toned thing again. So let's grab our yellow, our So Saffron, and our Granny Apple Green. And we're going to ink up the perfect in the yellow. And again, if you start with the light color, you don't have to worry so much about avoiding the other area, because when you ink that area up with the darker color, it's going to make any color that you had underneath kind of disappear. So now we can come in and do our darker color. This is our Granny Apple Green. We're just inking it up in the corner. You can take Post-it notes or things like that. Like I could take and cover this up while I'm inking up the yellow, but then I would have to, you know, still do this kind of technique when I want to add the next color. Or I could stamp them separately. You could do it that way. Another thing, I just thought of this, this is how I actually started off with all my colors, is I invested in the markers. And you could take the brush end of the marker and color where you want on your stamp. I'm just re-moistening my stamp to get it moist again, get that ink revived, and we're gonna press it down onto our paper. On this one, we're not doing any sponging except the sponge dauber for the sunshine. So let's take and mount that onto, now that we're done with this, let's mount that onto our last piece of brushed cardstock, brushed metallic cardstock. And that's going to go here. And then I'll show you them all at once here. I think I'll flatten them this way since they're not holding very well by being folded in half. But those are the, ooh, let's put them in order. There we go. Morning, day, and night. And I have also I've also mounted them on colored cardstock to show you the difference. So you wouldn't have to get this metallic cardstock if you can't get it yet, because again, August 4th. So if you're not a demonstrator and you can't pre-order and you want to make these cards right away, well then you could just mount them either onto black cardstock, which looks stunning. Then you'll want to have white cardstock on the inside, by the way. Or you could even take and do coordinating colors based on the leaves. So I did Granny Apple Green cardstock here, Pretty Peacock cardstock on that one, and then of course basic black, I'm sorry, not basic black, tuxedo, memento, black, tuxedo black, tuxedo, I forgot the name of it now. I should not have even said the word basic black. Memento, tuxedo, yeah, whatever. It's in the supply list. Here's another thought. You could take these wonderful little boxes. So we have these acetate boxes that are just slightly larger than the 3x3 size. And you could fit all your cards into the box to transport them. Now let's say you want envelopes. Well, my goodness, you better invest in the 3x3 envelopes. So we have 3x3 envelopes that you could throw into your container. And then you could just kind of fold this up and stick it in your purse, throw it in your car, you know, just have it with you so that when you go to pick up your takeout food, or you want to thank your hairdresser after they're done, you know, doing your hair or whatever, you have a fun little card to just write your name in, maybe put the tip in there or something. You could even just put it in somebody's room on their pillow to wish them a happy day. It doesn't have to be, you know, someone outside of your home, especially during this time, during this pandemic. So you can spread sunshine or random acts of kindness within just your family if you want to. Now, let's say that you want to use this box for something else. So I have one other thought for you. You could take and insert your card, or your card could even just be on one layer. Like you could just kind of cut this off here and just have this be a decoration on the front inside of this box. And then you throw a little bit of candy in there. So I just have some, I love Ghirardelli. Ghirardelli caramel milk chocolate squares are in there. And so I threw a couple in there. You could give them to a friend or whatever that way. So I hope that you enjoyed those ideas. They were fun to make. So much fun. Let me show you those cards again and mention again that you can get, see, I made a whole bunch, didn't I? I have a whole bunch ready to go. Oh, and don't forget to stamp your envelopes too. You could stamp your envelopes to match. So, yeah, so I just went crazy with this, didn't I? But don't forget to check out my blog post. It will go live soon after this video is done. In fact, it's meant to go live at 12:15, but as soon as I can get to my computer and make it go live, it can go live even sooner. So check that out. The link is in the video description. What else do I want to share? Gosh, I haven't even told you where my website is. If you want to visit my website at stampyourartout.com, you can see Lots of other things that I share. I have a blog portion of that website. You just scroll down and you find the little blog button. In fact, I will pull that up on my computer so you can see it. Oops, wrong thing. Hang on. Hang on. We have to move screens around here. So this is my website, stampyourartout.com. And if you scroll down, there's a button that says my blog. When you click on that, it brings you to the area where I share at least 4 times a week. So there's lots of fun goodies that I share on my blog every week. If you were interested in purchasing any of the product that I shared today, I do have a shop button too, and you can find that when you're on my blog portion, or let's say you didn't get there yet, you're still on the front page, there's a shop button down here, and that will take you to my store so that you can purchase these products. You can also find that the links are clickable in the video description here on YouTube. So what else do I want to share? We got to draw for prizes. Let's go back to the desktop and we'll move these cards out of the way. Last week we had some winners that were announced, and one of those winners did not get in touch with me yet. And I'm going to just call out his or her name. I believe it's a her, Terry Hendricks. You put your name after the HT12WQ in your comments a couple times. So I wrote down your name. Hopefully you can get in touch with me because I have no way of contacting you if you don't reach out to me. So Terry, if you reach out to me first, you can pick. This is what fell all over my table, you guys. My prizes. These are the ones that I drew from last week. And Terry, you get to pick. Here, I don't know. Can you see all the colors at once? Maybe. So Terry, and then 2 more winners that I'm going to announce in just a minute. You all get to pick 4 spots. These are ink spots. And you get to pick a pack of Whisper White note cards and envelopes that I will send to you. You don't have to pick that. I'm going to send it to you along with your chosen ink spots. So who are those winners? Let's go to the computer and find those names. Here we go. Congrats to Wendy Lynch and Debbie Madsen. You are the winners that I drew. You commented on the on the YouTube video after it was live, and you got in on the prize drawing and you were picked. So congratulations. Make sure that you get back in touch with me so that I can get your contact information and send you your prizes. If you live outside the US, I have options that are non-product options to send you as a prize, so everybody can win no matter where you live. The prize for today, Rachel, pull it out. Where did it go? Oh, it's behind me. Okay, so I think she might have already picked a winner. Trisha's really quick about this. So Trisha, if you have not chosen a winner yet, make sure that you scream it out in the comments. I'm gonna go peek over here. The winner for today's live, so if you were chosen live, you get 5 of these wonderful acetate boxes, 20 of the 3x3 envelopes, and a dauber to try out. And if you already have this stuff, it's consumable. It's product that you would go through again anyway. So congratulations to, Deb Sheets. Congratulations. Thanks so much, Trisha. And Trisha, give her a hand. She's been doing a fabulous job during this live broadcast. I thank you so much for helping me out, my dear. Let's see, what else do I want to mention? Oh, the next live. The next live is going to be next Wednesday, 11 a.m. on July 29th. I hope that you are able to join me. You'll want to come visit me again on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. And then after you've subscribed, there's a little bell next to that subscribe button. Click on all notifications and then you'll get reminders of when I post or when I go live. All right? So I think that's it. I hope that you all had fun. I want to read the comments. I'm so excited, but I will read them soon, later on today, hopefully. Take care, everyone. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your